Hey everyone, so today I am going to review Fierce, Femmes and Notorious Liars, a Dangerous Trans Girl's Confabulous Memoir by Kai Cheng Thom, and that is the cover. So unfortunately I don't have a physical copy of the book. My fiance and I, when we watched the Oscars, we placed a bet on who would win Best Pick. No, it was just like whoever won the most, got the most like Oscar nominations right, or Oscar winners right from the nominees. Yes, was the winner, and obviously I won. And we got to choose our own prizes, and of course I chose a book. And so this was the book I asked him to buy for me, and then so he bought it for me, and then it sold out, and it was on back order for the longest time, and finally they were like, you know what, we don't know when it's going to be back in stock, so we're just gonna refund you the money. So don't have the physical copy. I ended up reading a PDF version of this book that you can buy from the Canadian publisher, which I will put a link down below if you are interested in reading it. But that's how I ended up reading it. So that is why I just have a picture of it. So I don't know what happened to the PDF because it was just on the internet, and then once I finished reading it, I don't know what happened, but so yeah. Anyway, so once again, this is Fierce, Femmes and Notorious Liars, and I have my notes, which I'm like, that's why I'm still looking at the screen. But anyway, so the reason I read this book is because this book was the March/April pick for our shared shelf, and I think I've read pretty much all the books from the book club, except for there's two for sure that I can think of off the top of my head that I didn't read, but otherwise I've tried to read everything that they've chosen. So that is how I ended up reading this book. And so this book, as the title says, is a memoir, but is a very uniquely told memoir, and it's basically a fictionalized memoir, if that makes sense, which it doesn't really, but it is very, very unique in its storytelling. It is told by the narrator, who is a self-proclaimed notorious liar, kung fu master, and she goes on her journey of self-discovery. She lives in an abusive household in the city of Gloom, and she escapes this household and comes across the Street of Miracles, where she encounters other trans women, and that is when she is truly able to be herself and blossom and become the person that she wants to be. So it's very unique in the way that it's told. Like I said, it's a fictionalized memoir, so it is still very much the author's coming of age story, but there are mermaids and zombies and things that are not quote unquote real, and so it's very fun and unique way to tell your coming of age story. And so, you know, she goes to the Street of Miracles, and she's here, and she becomes friends with all these trans women, and unfortunately, being trans is incredibly dangerous. You face the threat of being raped and killed. And the difference between a trans murder and a cis murder is that people don't take trans murders as seriously as they do as if it's a cisgendered person. And that's unfortunately just the reality they face. So while living on the Street of Miracles, the protagonist sees other trans women getting murdered and nothing is really done about it. And so after the death of one more trans woman, it's just too much. So half of the women that she's become really close to form a group called the Lipstick Lacerators, and they become like this vigilante group, and they go out and they beat up any people beating up on their fellow trans women, and they beat up on other transphobes. And after something horrible happens during one of their vigilante missions, the protagonist turns a lot to violence. That is the only way she was taught how to communicate, and so it's very easy for her to lash out. And so when something goes terribly wrong during one of the vigilante missions, she learns that violence is not the only way to communicate, and it shouldn't be the only way to communicate. So she grows even more from that experience. So, as I said, this is a very, very fun read. There, like I said, there are mermaids and zombies and vigilantes, and while it is this fictionalized version, it definitely does not shy away from the dangers that trans women face. Like I said, the murder, there's the police brutality. Trans women are also victims of police brutality, and unfortunately, trans people are just still very invisible to this world. And so this story does a very good job of telling her coming of age story while also revealing the horrors and the injustices that trans people face that unfortunately people still don't know about too much because it's just not talked about. For whatever reason, the death of trans people is just not important in the media or in society. So it's really unfortunate. So she does not gloss over that, but it is a very fun read anyway, and it's told very uniquely. I remember when I read the first 2 or 3 pages, I was like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. The writing is very out there, but it was actually, I relaxed and I was just like, you know what, just enjoy it for what it is, and I ended up liking it a lot. So let me see if there's anything else I need to add. I don't know, but this cover is just very, very eye-catching, and it captures what you see on this cover is exactly what you get when you're reading it. The style of writing you're probably envisioning is exactly what you get, and there's poetry thrown in there, and just the bonds that the protagonist forms with her fellow fierce femmes is just, it's beautiful to see that kind of friendship. So I give this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend that everyone read it, just so you get a different perspective. And if you are unsure about trans people, that is okay. Educate yourself. please educate yourself. Do not remain ignorant. And this is a good way to do it because you're educating yourself in a way that doesn't feel like you're getting educated, and it doesn't feel like it's shoving any ideologies down your throat or anything like that. So those are my final thoughts. And yeah, currently I'm reading The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which ended up being the book my fiance ended up buying me after this didn't work out. So thank you. I love you. And so let me know if you want a review on this once I am done reading it. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I'll see you next time. Bye.